Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching Georgia Beer Reviews. Back at you today with another one. Yes, I'm looking at another one of the Framingham beers from Jack's Abbey Craft Lagers out of Framingham, Massachusetts. Purchased the whole lineup. These are among my favorite types of beers, the barrel-aged porters and stouts. Not, super cheap. Reasonably priced, I think, for what you're getting. Around between $11 and $12 for a bottle, much like Bourbon County. Anyway, this is the Mapledoodle Framingham, 2022, 12% alcohol by volume. It's a collaboration with Run Amok Maple. Right there on the side, collaboration, Run Amok Maple. It says on the label, we wanted to push some boundaries with this variety and create a version inspired by maple snickerdoodles. Of course, we had to go to our friends and maple experts at Run Amok to make that happen. Their maple-soaked cinnamon and vanilla are a decadent addition to this Framingham. Check them out at www.runamokmaple.com. I'll put that in the description below if anybody's interested. This is a 16.9 ounce bottle. So it says on the label, Imperial Baltic Porter aged in bourbon barrels with maple-soaked cinnamon and vanilla. It sounds incredible. I'm really excited about this one. My good buddy Bumpy over at Bumpy Road Brews has had this one, and we talked about it, and he said that this was one of his favorites of the 2022 lineup so far. Said it was really good, so I have very high hopes for this one. The only one that I've been disappointed with in the 2022 lineup so far is the Brownie Battered Donut. You can check out my review of that one on the Imperial Porter Stout examination that I did about a week ago with Michael Kormroff, and I believe Bumpy was there as well. Or maybe it was Chatty. I can't remember. But anyway, I did review that one, and it was the worst Jack's Abbey beer I've ever had. I was very disappointed with that one. But everything else has been really just dynamite. So, here's your pour. Looks like the other Framinghams. Black, jet black appearance. When you hold it up to the light, though, you can see a little bit of brown around the edge of the glass. The head, kind of a tan head with this one. The aroma, oh wow, so cinnamon, vanilla, the maple syrup is definitely there. Cinnamon, vanilla, maple syrup. It smells slightly boozy, more boozy than the other Framinghams that I had recently. Other than the Brownie Battered Donut, that one was boozy in a bad way. This one smells boozy, but in a good way. You're picking up on a little bit of the alcohol from the barrel. And I think just the maple-soaked cinnamon and vanilla is kind of giving it almost like a boozy effect as well. Some dark chocolate, dark toasted bread, maybe a touch of caramel. Smells really good. I feel like it's going to be a pretty complex beer. It's hard to really get a good sense of what to expect from the aroma. So without further ado, let's get into this brew. Cheers. Okay. Cinnamon is definitely the first thing that I'm getting on the palate. Interesting. Cinnamon, vanilla, maybe a touch of maple syrup, but the maple syrup is actually pretty light with this. If you've ever had like the Founders CBS, which is unfortunately no longer in production, you get a lot of maple with that. With this one, not so much. It's not sticky. It's not syrupy in any way. There's a touch of maple, but the primary initial note is cinnamon, and the vanilla comes through shortly after. Getting some dark chocolate and toasted bread in the middle of the sip. Touch of oak. It definitely has that barrel feel to it. It is slightly boozier than the other Framinghammers that I've had recently. The alcohol does come through a little bit more with this, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because you do get a little bit more of the bourbon barrel, but I feel like it's slightly out of balance because it cuts short the maple notes and the vanilla and the cinnamon, because it drops off quickly into that boozy effect on the finish. The middle to finish, you get the boozy notes. The cinnamon is really the star of the show with this one. There's a lot of cinnamon spice notes with this. It's very enjoyable, but this is definitely not my favorite. My favorite is the original bourbon barrel-aged Framingham without any additives, just the straight bourbon barrel-aged Framingham. That one was just on another level. This one's good. I like the maple-soaked cinnamon and vanilla thing that they got going with this. But I feel like the bourbon barrel presence with this one is almost a little bit too much. Or maybe it's the maple-soaked cinnamon and vanilla in combination with the bourbon barrel aging. It's almost just too much. It's a sensory overload. The bready, malty notes in the middle are kind of overlooked. The toasted bread notes are kind of overlooked and short-lived. The warming effect and the booziness is definitely there on the finish, which kind of, doesn't take away from the beer, but it's not as inviting. You don't want to go right back in for another sip. So this is one that you'd have to drink a lot slower than the other Framinghammers, because it just presents more boozy. This is an outstanding beer, but it's not my favorite. I would have liked a little bit less booziness, a little bit more of the bready, malty notes in the middle. Maybe some more dark chocolate would have been nice. But this is definitely a winner. It's unique. It's uniquely different, and it has a lot going for it. I really love the maple-soaked cinnamon vanilla idea there. I think it works really well. I just feel like if they take another year or so and kind of hone this recipe a little bit more, make it better. But this is outstanding. I'm going to go with a 94, though. I'm going to go with a 94 out of 100. It's pretty solid A, 94 out of 100, but not my favorite of the Framingham series. But still an outstanding beer nonetheless. I would highly recommend it. It's definitely worth the price point, between $10 and $12 for a 16.9 ounce bottle. You definitely are going to get your money's worth with it. So anyway, that'll do it for this beer review, guys. 94 out of 100 for the Jack's Abbey 2022 Mapledoodle Framingham. Buy it, try it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And we'll see you right here, all in the next Georgia beer review. Until then, cheers, everybody.